Welcome, everybody.
Hello, YouTube land.
This is a pop-up with Kathy Biel and the resident psychic, Annette Dion. So we're doing a live stream pop-up. I hope you get your notification bell, because that's how you know we're doing surprise pop-ups. That's been a thing this week. Just popping up everywhere because there's so much going on. So, I've asked the very generous Kathy Biel to come on with me, and she generously provides the astrological forecast for each day, featured on Off the Ledge, which happens every day. So make sure you check that out. I hope that it's helping people to feel calm. That was the objective. Are you staying calm, Kathy? What's going on?
Yes, these days, yes, I am.
Do you want to give people some tips?
People, tips for staying calm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Here's one. You can't fight all the fights. And you can't fight your part of the fight every single day. Give yourself slack. Take care of yourself. Downtime is essential. It's not putting your head in the sand if you don't want to watch the news for a day. Do what you need to regroup and get your sense of grounding really solid, and that way you're much more effective with whatever it is. And everybody has their own role in this, and your role could vary day by day. Some people take to the streets with signs. Some people spend hours giving information online. That's what I do. I don't go out into the streets. Some people do. Some people go to their town halls and try to organize things with their representatives, and they do it some days, they don't do it other days. Do what feels on a day-to-day basis, what you feel guided to do. And when you feel guided to take a break and go do something nice for yourself, do it.
Yeah, and it is true that, you know, along with the same concept of sleep, right? We can be really frazzled, and then we need sleep to file everything in files in our brain. That's what our brain does. So the downtime is a recharge time,
Mm-hmm.
and it's necessary. I'm sure Cory Booker went home and slept for a long time
He
after his
was back
marathon.
on social media first thing in the morning. Yeah, boy.
Well, then I'm
Whoa.
sure he went to sleep at some point, right? Because you
Mm-hmm.
just can't keep going and going and going. But good for him, and we are going to talk about him today. So it's it's real helpful too, and I've been thinking about this a lot, to make sure that you're putting out positivity. If you're actually a host of social media in any way, to make sure, and that means just your posts and everything. I've even been thinking of using the word hope in my title and my description, because people are really craving that. Did you notice that people want to go to what is going to bring them a positive message? I know there's somebody has a newsletter. I apologize, I don't have the name. I will bring that to PNN. But it's like all the news that's bad for Trump and Musk is this headline, and I'll find that for you, and I will post it. Those are the kinds of headlines that grab me. Anything that's saying there's a way out of the madness. There's always a way out of madness, right? Don't you
Eventually, yep.
agree? There's always a way out of madness. And when we get too attached to timelines, then I actually feel like when we get really attached to timelines, we actually delay the coming of whatever good that we're wanting.
You can push things away. That is true.
Yeah, because I mean, if we're attached to timelines, that means we're feeding more into the desperation of when is it going to happen, which is actually inherent in that as the sense of it's not going to happen, right? So I'm getting a little deep, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So since we're just coming off the Cory Booker thing,
I have a lot to say about him. Let me translate
yeah,
it into normal speak. Um, I have been saying, and some of my colleagues, have been saying for quite some time that after we got through March, things were going to feel really different. An outer planet that represents our connection to spirit changed signs on Sunday.
Yeah.
And so Neptune moved into Aries, which can be spiritual warrior. It did a bunch of things in Corey's chart. One of them is it immediately challenged, it opposed where his Uranus in Libra is. Now, Uranus is the disruptor planet. Libra is the sign of legislation and Congress and agreements. And Booker said, I am going to, what verb did he use? Disrupt the business
Yeah.
of Congress.
Make good trouble.
He used language that played out what the aspects were doing in him. So he, as a spiritual warrior, pulled this highly physical marathon. Neptune in Aries is very much in our bodies. It's life force.
Oh, okay.
And he spoke for many, 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 many people. He didn't read Dr. Seuss. He didn't read the phone book. He spoke for many people. Well, Neptune, now in Aries, was in a firing up aspect to his ascendant, his rising sign, which is Aquarius, for the people.
Oh,
It gives him the
right.
ability to connect with all kinds of people. So this was perfectly done. Also, there was an eclipse last weekend. So much has gone on, we tend to forget.
Yeah.
There was the solar eclipse right on top of his Venus in Aries. This is warrior, goddess, firepower, hunter mode, valuing, really, really fighting. So he got just jettisoned into. And I listen to him off and on, and even at the 23-hour mark, he was viscerally angry with his voice shaking. He wasn't faltering. He was still pulling up the energy and the energy and the energy. And
Yeah.
several things he said matched the current astrology. One of them was he kept talking about this being a moral moment, and the choice isn't left or right, but right or wrong, or however he phrased it.
Yeah.
So there's a big, big pileup of bodies right now at the end of the zodiac in the sign of Pisces, which is interconnectedness of everything. And one of them is the north node of the moon. This is this way to the future, where we are heading. It was right on top of his north node. So he's wired this way. This is his moment. And I had talked about the challenge of the solar eclipse that we're just been shot through, of how to have fierce independence in an interconnected world. And he actually said rugged individualism did not beat the Nazis, which is another way of saying this is the challenge. We have to take all of who we are and all work toward a common goal. So there are 20,000 other things I could say about the timing and what he did and what it means. But he essentially lit the fuse for what Neptune in Aries can mean, and fired up a lot of people. And people are looking at him like, oh, well, hey, he should be president. No, he's where he needs to be. He's absolutely where he needs to be. He is running again for Senate. He's my senator. I adore him. I agree with like 90% of what he does. And this is astonishing what he has pulled off in this. And it sets the tone. It defines what this transit can mean. Now, why this is important is you're going to hear a lot of people saying, oh, but the last time Neptune was in Aries was right before the Civil War. This does not mean, oh my God, we have to live through a bloody battle between the states again. He just set it into everyone get up and fight. fight for what you believe in, fight for what you know is right. And the fact that a black man broke the record for
John
speaking
Thurman's,
in the
yeah.
Senate
It's
that was
amazing.
previously set by speaking against
Yeah.
voting rights for blacks. So this is astonishing.
Yeah, yeah. Talk about poetic justice. That was pretty incredible. That was a remarkable thing that he did. And I didn't know he was going to do that whole marathon. It was kind of kept under cover until he did it, as far
Right.
as I could see.
And it was planned for a long, long time because he had binders that his staff had put together on
Yeah.
every issue. And he actually read phone calls and conversations and letters from people about the real world impact of all of this. A beautiful, beautiful Pisces moment. Someone with a Pisces North node to be able to express how so many people are being sacrificed, are hurting, are being victimized, are in pain.
Yeah. It gave me hope. Gave a lot of people a lot of hope. And the whole message of this is how it's done really came through to me. And
Mhm.
I wondered, I have this thought in my mind that I wondered if there would be people standing up for democracy and having a similar marathon moment. It's just a thought that I'm having. I wonder if, like, just mere citizens like us, not me and you per se, but would be engaged in a protest where we like all stand for 25 hours outside the Capitol building, or something like Corey did. I don't know if there were people outside the Capitol while he was speaking. I kind of envisioned that there were, but it feels like the mainstream media is not really covering that kind of thing.
But it got social media play. His
Yeah,
TikTok account, and TikTok is where a younger segment of the population goes. His
yeah,
TikTok account blew the numbers out of the roof. I mean,
yeah. So it was all there. It was just virtual, right?
mhm.
That's incredible. It was so incredible, and I think that it inspires us. He did mention the protest this Saturday to get
Yes,
out and protest. So I think he really met the moment, and I think it can give us a lot of hope when we look at people's astrology that are really out there taking a stand. When we look at their astrology and see that it's in their chart. Like there are people, and we were all born for this time that we're in, clearly because we're here and going through all this as a collective. But I think when we think about people like Joe Biden came in, he was in office and he saved our democracy for that time he was in office. We look at Kamala's chart and we see that she's destined for a leadership role, like as president for sure. And we look at others that you wonder, like, where did Zelensky get his, stamina and his stick to itiveness? And it's all in their charts. So I think we can really feel reassured that it might not be us that are doing the Cory Booker thing, but it might be something else that we're doing that's in our chart that we were destined for, right? And
right.
and and if you want to
Everybody
know
has a
more about
different role.
that, Kathy Biel offers personal astrology chart readings. Take advantage of this, right? Because you can find out maybe what your role is during this very pivotal time in America. I was asking via text if you could peek at the United States chart. Who are these people that are saying, well, Neptune went into Aries before the Civil War, that are being all
Oh, I mean,
complaining?
it's not out of. I don't think it's irresponsible to point out that happened, but the situation is really different now. Uh,
Yeah, so
and
100
well, and
years later.
the underlying wounds and problems that led to the Civil War are still here. The South was highly dependent on slave labor economically. The North was economically much more advanced. And there was a big fight over, human unpaid labor was part of it,
Yeah,
but it was a lot more than that. And clearly, many things that are going on now are many festering wounds from the Civil War coming
Right.
back out. And we've been seeing that for the last 7 years, 8 years, really much more openly. But
Mm-hmm.
so there's like an atmospheric shift every time Neptune changes signs, and it kind of marks. And there's something about the general vibe, the general style, but it's what your own connection to spirit is. And Neptune has just gone from the point of absolute interconnectedness to everything to the first degree of the zodiac, which is where all creation begins.
Right.
So that I see a tremendous amount of potential with this. It's heading for parts in the U.S. chart that have given people all kinds of, well, what if, what if, what if. So you asked me about what will the U.S. look like in 2026? So
Because it's the 250th anniversary of our democracy.
I ran a chart for that day. And to see what will be going on. And there are many things that are extremely positive. It does look like there is a sense of unity and community and many things together, and many disparate populations melding together. I often think of a an exhibit that was at the Smithsonian when I was working there I was working in DC one summer, and it was a nation of nations, and consisting of neon signs from every imaginable ethnic type of restaurant.
Oh,
And
wow.
it just really drove home like, whoa. So that stuff looks good and nice, and there's but there are two things. We will be actively looking at uh, the role of the courts, the role of individuals, reworking what our ground rules are. And it looks like there will be a lot of tinkering with how do we do things differently in the way the general machinery of government is run, which makes sense given
Mm-hmm.
how much has been blown up now at
Yes.
the 250th anniversary. We will be actively grappling with, now what do we do, and taking different approaches to things.
Well,
Also,
that's what Donald Trump's role is, to get us to fix our democracy. That's what I think.
and also Jupiter is heading towards the north node of the US chart. Now, let me explain. Jupiter expands everything it deals with. It can be very beneficial. The US's north node is to be a leader. It's to be a beacon.
Right.
And
Right.
I think that we start to regain our place on the globe much more after summer of next year.
That's hopeful. But do
I
you
think
think
so.
it's might it start a little earlier where we regain our position?
Oh, we have a lot of trust to make up.
Yeah, where we crawl back and beg on our knees and grovel to our allies in
Well,
Canada.
yeah.
I just saw a video. I was in Old Orchard Beach in Maine. That's where I was filming the sunsets from, and I just saw a video of this bed and breakfast place in that same area at Old Orchard Beach, and this B&B had 90% of their visitors each year, and a lot of people just coming back to the same place every year were Canadian, and they all were canceling. Because in Canada they're saying don't go to the U.S. And there are cases of Canadian people visiting here, driving, being pulled over, being thrown in jail because they're Canadian.
I
And
know.
so that has to stop. So we're going to have to grovel and crawl back, and we're going to have to say things like, we promise we'll take care of our democracy. We promise we won't let the cult take over. We really have a lot of making up to do. Do you
We'll
see
be,
it
we'll
in
be
the
actively
cases?
we'll be actively grappling with all of that in the
Yeah.
summer of 2026.
Yeah. So it looks as though our democracy stays according to, I mean, what I feel, yeah, we keep our democracy.
Well, I think we have a lot of rebuilding and what's the word? A lot of restructuring to do.
And a lot of pleading forgiveness.
No, it's showing. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah, it's humble pie, right?
Well, okay. Here's another way of looking at it. Right now, everybody, every person listening to this, every person on this planet, every country on this planet has been challenged to go stand up for themselves. So we
Right.
have a number of countries that have lived in the shadow of the overwhelming economic and military power of the US now stepping into more of their own sovereignty, which
That's
is
true.
a
That's
good
really
thing
true.
I see happening for Canada and for all the other countries. So, when we get our situation cleaned up, we aren't going to just immediately go and sit in the leader chair. We will
No,
be one of many.
we have to share the stage. We can't be greedy, Trumpy,
Well,
dumpy. America first. I mean, screw that. That's just stupid. So, but the tariffs.
oh, yes. Okay. So there's some interesting astrological stuff going on about tariffs. All right. Right now, the planet that rules money, Venus, is retrograde. And the planet that rules communication and orders and business deals is retrograde. Usually when things are done on a retrograde, uh, they have a lot of confusion and they often get redone later. I've mentioned, talking about Corey, that there's a lot of energy at the end of Pisces right now, connecting us to everything and everyone. So we've got Venus retrograde at the end of Pisces with um, Mercury retrograde at the end of Pisces with the North
Oh,
Node,
wow.
meaning this touches everybody, and Saturn is nearby. So to translate this into English, these monetary decrees stand to bring pretty much universal pain and suffering. And
Oh, yeah.
there are numerous beats, numerous moments coming up when things can change. Now, Venus is close to Saturn, planet of adulting, the planet of no, the planet of walls. And excuse me, last night, within hours of these tariffs being announced, the Senate passed a resolution retracting the tariffs against Canada.
Yeah.
And Republicans joined with the Democrats on this, on grounds that the reason for the tariff, which has to do with fentanyl, right, was nonsense.
It
Now, it
is.
has to go to the House. Who knows what will happen there? The point being, the first no happened on April 7th. That's next week. As Mercury is stationing direct, as Mercury is ending its retrograde, we have another moment of no. Venus meets Saturn. Now, this could be him doubling down and saying, oh, no, 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 and really, really digging in. It could be much more blowback, much more counter sanctions. It could be something, maybe the House does pass its own version of that resolution. I don't know, but that's a date to watch. Then
It
the
looks like
next one to
yes.
watch, is 12th and 13th. That's the Libra full moon. That's the full moon in the sign of Venus. It's the full moon in the that deals with relationships, and it's got an adjustment aspect wired into it. So we may find all kinds of trade agreements having to be tinkered with by then, or we could see uh, the ramifications internationally in our alliances of this. And then there's one more big moment. I said that Venus meets Saturn on the 7th, and there's a no or a wall or something. She meets him again on the 24th. So
Mm.
Mercury goes direct on the 7th. Venus goes direct on the 12th. Venus basically sits in one spot until the 17th. And then on the 24th, she moves ahead and she meets with Saturn one more time. They could be gone by then. We could have huge blowback. I don't know how it will play out, but just know that it's not going to just be like they're there and there isn't something going on. They're there sort of, and then there will be event after event after event after event throughout the month of April as this
Yeah.
goes on.
Right. So I just want to mention that I cannot follow the chat and listen to Kathy at the same time. So sorry, I'm not ignoring you. But hi, everyone.
Yeah, the
Glad you're
chat is
here.
mostly high. The chat's
Glad you're
mostly
here.
high.
It's just so much information. I'm just trying. Like I'm finding myself going in my head.
So
Can we
my
go back
question
April
that
7th? And what's going on with Venus on the 17th? Like where is she, why is she sitting
hey,
there? Like,
all right. So on the
sorry.
7th, Venus is still retrograde, but she meets up with cosmic breaks. She meets up with a wall. She meets up with something where there are ramifications.
Okay,
I
so
don't know.
just hold that thought because
Yeah.
when you were saying that and I checked my pendulum, it said you said something about the House voting, and I got yes that they would vote. Like
About the Canadian tariff, that they'll go with the Senate and
okay,
say,
so let's just see what the question is. Can you formulate a question because it felt really
will
strong.
the House also undo the Canadian tariff?
Okay, so this is for the 7th, right?
Yep.
I'm getting yes on that.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
So then, all right, so next week we've got that. We have both of the retrograde planets stationing direct and very slowly moving ahead. So then we start moving into the time of dealing with whatever happened and maybe finding out things that were lied about or confused or miscommunication.
Slightly.
Right. Okay.
A
So
little bit.
anyway, when Venus stations, she turns around on the 12th, but she sits in one spot, her
What?
degree station, for a few days before and until the 17th after. So there may be this long period of kind of, being in a whirlpool of what.
So can you describe what it is for a planet to sit in one spot? Is that like before they make a turn? Like
Well, so it's turning around on the degree of 24 degrees Pisces. And it stays there for a few days. There's a few days as it moves into exactly where it's going to turn around. And then it turns around and there's a few more days before it moves to the next degree.
so it's going into Aries, so it's going to sit there around Pisces, and Venus rules money, right? And so so in those few days we could see a lot of intermingling things
Well, more of the
happening.
ramifications of this,
Right.
and I would imagine by April 7, when Venus makes her first meeting with
Mhm.
Saturn, I bet the impact on ordinary people will be palpable. I mean,
Yeah.
we saw the market tank overnight. I think that we'll start to see the prices going out of control. I mean, I think it'll be real quick that people see the immediate impact on them. And as we know, it's not true until it happens to you. So,
I know, and I was just about to say that because as much as I hate the reality of this, when I see how dug in MAGA has been, even to the point of still seeing a few Trump flags around here in Massachusetts, which is to me it's just crazy. Um, when I see how dug in they are, unfortunately, the only thing that's going to wake people up that have been in the Trump camp is we have to feel it. I mean, we're all like, "Oh, don't let it happen, don't let it." I mean, that's the general sentiment. Don't let it happen, don't let it happen. Of course, we don't want to see people suffer from these tariffs, especially those that are really struggling in poverty. But there's no other way in life, when people are just really down that rabbit hole of cult mind, there's no other way but to get whooped upside the head, metaphorically speaking, of course, with something that they just can't deal with. And when it hits people in their money, forget about it. There's nothing that's more, because it's survival based, it's more impactful than
Hmm.
stealing one's money. And I don't know what Trump is thinking with these tariffs, but all that I keep going to is Putin said destroy America. And so this is a great way to destroy America and the entire world. So, what do you think is going on in the orange buffoon's head? Do you think that he really believes that this is a good, smart idea?
I think he's telling the entire world, "F you." I mean, it's a huge. It's got to be. It's got to be a gigantic power rush for him. It
So it's
has
like
to.
negative attention is better than not enough attention kind of
Not even
thing.
that. No, no. The fact that he could do this, that he has this level of power, is a huge rush.
But does he like the hatred, do you think? Because I mean this is making him so, this is like very Elon, evil Elon. It's making him so detested by the entire world.
I, I don't know. I don't know.
I'll have to look at that. That's a question for PNN, I suppose. I'll do a little pop up today later
But
too.
so here's my question for your pendulum: since Venus is going to have these different beats that will have developments in the whole tariff story, by the 24th, when Venus makes her second conjunction to Saturn, are they lifted?
The tariffs.
Yes.
I can tell you. Yeah. See, I could tell you without even looking at the pendulum because I have been reading on that, and I don't see them staying.
No. This is a
I really
timeline
don't.
for them being undone. It's a timeline for them
Yeah.
being undone.
Yeah. It's not sustainable. It doesn't. There's no benefit to anybody or anything. It's just destructive for to the whole globe. And here's the thing that tells me for sure, that this is not going to fly. The oligarchs will be suffering. They'll have to sell a couple of their yachts. You know what I mean? It's like, because if the American people have all these tariffs, they're not going to be buying, and Bezos with his Amazon and all the rest of them, they're not going to be making any money. Plus all these boycotts. So it could be greed itself, out of control greed, that kind of stops the tariffs, right? You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but here's another thing that could be part of what he's up to, and that is, if he does this across the board, then businesses have to come crawling to beg for exemptions from them, which gives more power. So it could be another way to extort all kinds of concessions out of big corporations. But I suspect that.
Yeah.
Why are you
Well,
talking about
over.
Pittsburgh? Hold on a second. What? As Pittsburgh's where I'm from. What's the deal? Oh, they're talking about the Pittsburgh Penguins hockey team? Okay. That's interesting. Um, anyway, sorry, just happened to notice. What?
That's why I can't read the chat and talk to you.
If someone will explain, innocent potato, why are you talking about the
I'll be
Pittsburgh
doing church and
Penguins?
spirituality, and they'll be swapping recipes in the chat. I'm like, I feel like I'm at church and no one's paying attention, you know, like the minister. Anyway, it's funny. So, so as
Anyway,
far
the
as
bottom line is remember that we have interlocking retrogrades right now, and they have they've the two inner planets have gone back into Pisces, but they're going to go back into Aries after they finally finish their retrogrades. And
yeah,
we see what this Aries energy is doing, people.
Venus and Mercury, the retrogrades.
Yeah. And so once they get back into Aries, they're going to meet up with Neptune, things are going to catch fire. End of End of April, early May, Mars, planet that rules Aries, is going to move into fire, Leo. Uh, things are going to speed up.
Yeah, get ready. Hang on to your hat. Um,
Oh, I know why they're
this,
talking about penguins. There's an island that's been hit with tariffs that is populated with penguins. It makes
I
no
know,
sense.
but they were talking about the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yeah, well.
Anyway, see, your chatters are confusing us. Um, just as far as the Neptune going into Aries, I don't know if you felt it personally, but I felt I could probably describe it in words, you know, if I wrote a little essay about it. The Neptune and Aries energy is so, so different.
Hmm.
Like if you feel like you're a different human since, was it Sunday?
Yeah.
And then that was right after the solar eclipse. I'm losing track of
Hmm.
like when,
Yep.
what was the date of the solar eclipse again?
29th
The 29th, and then we went right into Neptune and Aries.
on the
Gosh,
30th.
it's like, how are we keeping our heads on even?
And then we saw what we saw on the floor of the Senate, the first full day of Neptune being in Aries. I swear to you, that christened what Neptune's entire time in Aries is going to be like.
Yeah, and that was a perfect illustration of Neptune going into Aries, and from my perspective, because it was like, for me, it feels like Neptune and Pisces is like, here we are all dreaming and being all meditative and a little spacey, and we're dreaming of what we want, right? And then when Neptune goes into Aries, it's like, let's go get it, damn it. That's how it felt. It just felt like, let's clear the fog, no more messing around. I mean personally too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I wondered if you might have felt that shift yourself.
Well, what I felt with Neptune finally making the crossover the night before, I slept like I haven't in forever. And I know many people like that. Like it was safe.
Oh,
And I commented Tuesday morning after Corey took the floor and I woke up and he was still there. I was saying on multiple social media platforms, I feel like I woke up in America again.
oh, I felt that too. I
Mhm.
definitely felt that. I've been getting waves of, oh, we're back. Oh,
Mhm.
like just psychically. Oh, I feel like we're back. And Kamala's president when I feel like we're back. She's been sort of popping her head up.
Oh my goodness, and she's on social media now a lot. She congratulated Corey, lots of photos of her with him in the halls of Congress, and she had many, many, like a 4 or 5 part video congratulating Wisconsin. Hmm,
Yeah, where are you
interesting.
seeing her pop up? I saw her congratulate Wisconsin, but where are you seeing her on Blue Sky?
Instagram, she's got her Instagram feed is going like crazy, and the same with then she started showing up on my Facebook feed. I
Oh,
know a
okay.
lot of people don't wanna go near Meta, but just
That's why I haven't seen her.
yeah, they're still here.
But I'll go check. Even Sadhguru is on Facebook, and I miss so much because I don't. So it's worth checking for some things. Yeah. So you've looked at her chart, and you have seen, and I saw it in a reading on Monday. I saw her coming back, and not rescuing us, but just, I'm here. It's gonna be okay. You know how she's so maternal like that. It's gonna be okay.
Well, Jupiter has been moving through her 12th house, which is the hidden stuff. So there's stuff that's been going on that we haven't been made privy to. When Jupiter moves through that part of your chart, it's like a cosmic night light. Like there's something in you that's Mary Magdalene singing "Everything's All Right Now" to Jesus the night
Yeah.
before he gets crucified. Anyway,
Right.
um, but so it's about to move. It will later this year, not too long from now, move over her ascendant, making her very, very visible. And when it does that, it pumps up her north node, her path that she came in to walk.
And when I
What?
have done readings on it, I see her. The 12th house thing makes sense to me because I get the turning inward card and like, oh, is she meditating? Like, what is she doing?
She might
That's
be.
what it's been feeling like. But what was the date that you saw her? When?
Uh,
What's your prediction? Like when you see?
Well,
Oh,
I
there
mean,
she is again.
more and more, but it's going to have to do with Jupiter. Uh, I mean, she might start showing up more and more this month, but when it crosses her nodes is, I think early in May. Let me
Hey,
look.
can you imagine how much she has to say? How much is in her head? When you're kind of the expert on something, and it's like, I just need to say it. I just need to say it. And I did hear that Biden congratulated the judge too, Susan Crawford,
Oh, good.
and we
Excellent.
hadn't heard from him. Like
True.
Biden's been pretty invisible, but I always feel him behind the scenes working.
So, um, the really, really big and activating stuff for her doesn't hit until May. But that doesn't mean we won't be seeing things or more and more and more before then.
Well, that's only a few short weeks.
Hmm.
Like the middle of May, or
Hold on.
oh, I see that Rose pulled up last Thursday's meditation and did it again. Very good. Thank you for reminding me. We have a guided meditation for Healed America every Thursday at 7
Middle of May.
here on my channel.
Middle of May, but that doesn't mean we won't be seeing much more from her before then.
Well, we see a little bit. She pokes her head up. That's good.
Also, Uranus has been sitting on her Jupiter. There's stuff that's been going on. There have been lucky breaks. And okay, so here's something. I don't have the wherewithal to look into this, but you do. And that is there's noise going around that and I don't have I know the name of the account and I go, well, I don't know whether these people know what they're talking about or not, but there's noise going around that that employees of Starlink are talking to members of Congress to try to get plea deals if they spill what they know happened with tinkering with the tabulation.
Yeah, I read on that last night.
You read on that last night. Okay.
Yes.
And the answer
You
is
were there.
this is true.
I thought you were there. Were you there?
I might, I do 15,000 things. I'm sorry.
You're probably reading the chat.
Maybe.
It's distracting. Yeah, I definitely get that that's happening. Let me just ask this: is it imminent? Like, it looks like we're gonna hear about that. That's a strong yes. It looks like we're gonna hear about that. Like we won't know who they are, but kind of whistleblowers that worked for Starlink. Some of them are from the past, is what I get. Like, they don't work for Starlink anymore. Thank you, Sharon, for putting my info up. I really think I don't know if you've looked at this, but I really see the Putin-Trump connection as Russia's gonna lose this war, and I just really feel like they're two peas in a pod, and when one falls, the other falls. So I don't know if you've noticed anything.
Well, many people have been saying that forever.
Oh, okay.
And let's see.
It just feels close. I mean, I might have alluded to that in the past, or just figured that out from a logical standpoint. But I feel like it's coming soon. And last night when I was reading the tea leaves, oh, what was really funny is on Monday when I was reading the tea leaves, there was a big middle finger in the Mercury part of the cup.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
And then last night I saw Putin having to deal with a really huge strike. I mean, military strike. And I think we don't hear a lot about what's going on in the war, but I think that did happen. I think I caught that later. That there was a big, like a bunker. When I think about Putin, I think about him like sort of in these hidden quarters. And the bombing actually happened, a very recent one, and they hit the bunkers and the hidden quarters, and a lot of the generals were killed. That we don't hear about this on our news.
No.
But I do feel that it's imminent that Russia loses, and then what the crazy thing is, and then Trump doesn't have his daddy telling him what to do.
There's a lot we don't know.
Yeah, well, that's why
currently
people are going to the psychics.
No. But looking at the aspects to the chart that we use as Putin's chart, and there's some people who think we don't really even know what his actual birth date is, which would be fitting given what he does. But at any rate, working with the chart that everyone looks at, all of this Pisces stuff is having a big impact on his effectiveness. and his
Oh,
ability to move things around. And he may be having um, pharmaceutical issues right now. I don't mean that he's drug crazed, but I think that there's something going on where we don't know about it. I don't think he's on ketamine or something like others.
no,
Um,
probably something stimulant like.
but there's some pharmacological component to whatever is going on with him at this point.
Maybe he and Elon are, getting together and sharing tips.
Oh, who knows?
but
Who knows? Who knows? But
but I do
it's a bad
I do I think it's over for him. Go ahead.
it's a bad year for him in terms of all kinds of alliances that he has, and possibly even his own health and his ability to continue to hang on to what's going on with the country. So,
Now,
you know,
now he's a Libra though, right? Because you said that people aren't sure what his info is, but
well,
does it feel sure he's a Libra?
we don't even know if the year is correct. Anything.
So you don't know what sign he really is?
I'm telling you, this is what we have been told forever is his birth date, but there's some suspicion that this isn't actually really his birth date.
Oh, and Jesus wasn't born on December 25th either.
Well, that we don't have to prove. That's a given.
yeah, yeah. So I guess it would be hard to get a dictator's. I consider him a dictator. Real birthday,
Well,
like who knows when Kim Jong-un was born?
yeah, well, my point is we've been working with this date. Astrologers have been for a long, long time, but there's some talk that, I mean, given that he was an intelligence agent, who knows what he
Right.
put out there, that maybe he's really something else.
It might all be hidden. He seems more like a Scorpio to me.
Well, he's if this time is correct, he's Scorpio rising with the moon in the Scorpio house, so that would fit it.
Yeah. So, who else do we have to look at? There's so many people. Is there anyone you're interested in talking about? Because there's really just too long of a list.
Actually, no.
Oh, okay.
I just basically want to let people know it's a very, very confusing time, but we're already starting to see the fog burning off more and more and more and more.
Yes.
And there will be beats of the fog burning off. And notice what is igniting inside of you. And those are your operating orders from moment to moment. You may have plans like, this is what I'm going to do. And then suddenly this energy erupts in you and you go, oh, nope, throwing that out. This is what I'll do.
And I think it's important to plan for a positive future. Don't you?
Well, I will tell people every client that I have talked to since December has really amazing things opening up for them this year. I don't see people with financial collapse or job collapse or, crawling in a hole and just hiding.
And if you have the time to listen to Cory Booker, it's 24 hours. You're not going to, 25 hours plus. So you're not going to do it in one sitting. But just like I compare it in a certain way to the DNC, to all the speakers at the DNC, everything that was being said was uplifting and inspiring at the DNC. Remember that? Like way back last August?
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't wait. It was like watching your favorite series every night. It's like, oh, the DNC is on. The DNC is on, right? And Cory's speech felt like that. So the sound of democracy, the conversations, the case for democracy, it's all there. And if we want to just know what's already in place that gives us hope, take your eyes off the orange buffoon. This is my strong suggestion. And put your eyes and ears on those things. That's who we are. Damon's in the house.
Hello, Damon.
Hey, Damon, did you hear me say that you're almost as popular as Damon?
Yes, I did. I heard that last night.
Hey, Damon.
Damon, I bow.
Yes, you both have fan clubs. So, I don't want to leave you without asking a question before you go. This solar eclipse, personally, can you think of a way that we can use the energy from this past solar eclipse last weekend? What was it on Friday?
No, it's on Saturday. Let me put
It
it
was
in
on Saturday,
context.
right?
Let me put it in
Yeah,
context. This solar eclipse is the culmination of 2 years of re-examining what we value in other people and how we get along and what our relationships are. And the force of this particular review has had a couple of common impacts. One of them is that all of the eclipses have been pushing us forward, not doing cleanup work and clearing stuff out, but moving us forward
yeah,
and moving us ahead as individuals. The impetus of this eclipse family has been to take people's to stop focusing on what's going on with other people and worrying about that as your starting point, and instead being much more self-determining. I can think of a number of relationships where one person had made concession after concession after concession and then realized, I am fundamentally unhappy. I must do
yeah,
things for me. And we're all doing things more for ourselves. So this final one is shooting everybody ahead. And I've used the metaphor of we're in little booster rockets, except we're all in rockets simultaneously, having to figure out how we're going to navigate all these other rockets going up. This is Corey's saying rugged individualism did not defeat the Nazis. All right. So we have to
yeah.
figure out how we deal with everybody else, because we're all in this together. It's not that we're just going to start running around being the Lone Ranger or vigilantes or whatever. So,
Yeah.
um, so you'll notice that there's some way in which you have been brought back to life. There are things in your life that you're not going to put up with anymore. And you don't have to do it out of anger. It can just simply be, this isn't part of what I do anymore. I am now doing
Yeah.
X. There's a self-actualizing impulse in all of this. And Neptune in Aries carries some of that energy as well, of a natural vital force just erupting through your being and coming out, rather than making spreadsheets and plotting and planning and having benchmarks. What are you going to eat? That
Yeah.
plays a role in life, but for what's going to shoot us forward right now, it's much more impulsive and immediate and fierce.
So, but there's still a lot of Pisces energy too, right?
Well, we're all doing this stuck in everybody else's stuff. So I see the fact that we have this giant pile up in Pisces while these future things are shooting us into the future. It's like we're getting baptized in the
Yeah.
interconnectedness of everything as we then move into spiritual, just being our own little spiritual lightning rod, our own spiritual warrior. And everybody has different ways, again, of how they're going to express this.
And
We all have,
and Amanda's saying, what about changes in valuing ourselves? It sounds like that's what you're talking about. Changes in valuing yourself.
yeah, like putting yourself forward.
Yeah. And I like the whole idea myself personally of taking that Piscean, that like we're all in this together, that we're seeing that energy. We can't avoid that energy. And that's the only way we can solve the problems on the planet is all together. And the Neptune and Aries, and here's who I am
Hmm.
in that collective. Like we all have our individual roles to play, like what I was saying earlier about
Yes.
Cory Booker and different people. They were born for the roles that they're playing right now. So it seems like it's a time to really be solid and clear about what your role is within that collective, how you're going to serve or not serve, or.
Well, you might not be clear because there's a lot of really confusing stuff.
Well,
That's
just
why I'm saying
basically,
follow what the energy is within you. Like what is building, like, oh, this is what I'm going to do. Then do it. whatever it is that builds up inside of you. And it may change from day
Yeah.
to day to day.
Yeah, I'm just looking at I guess I'm just looking at the big objective, like, and how that contributes to the collective. I'm just taking it, one step further. But, figuring out like what it is, who you are, and being that, because Aries it is I am. What is Pisces? I know that the Sagittarius is I seek, and Aries is I am, and Pisces is maybe I dream.
I'm one
Any
with
Pisces
everything.
out
I
there?
don't know. I don't.
Is YouTube glitchy? Are we glitchy?
I don't know.
I think we'll find out after if you watch it. Okay,
Yeah.
thumbs up. I think we're good. You want to tell people how to reach you and give Kathy your business.
I swim. Yeah, right. My website is empowermentunlimited.net. My YouTube channel is Professional Aquarian. I have forecasts for every week, every full moon, every new moon, every month. They're on my website, empowermentunlimited.net, and on my YouTube channel, which is Professional Aquarian. I also have a Patreon, patreon.com/Kathy Biel, where there's bonus Astro Insight. I have a monthly Ask Me Almost Anything. If you miss my daily forecasts on Annette's Off the Ledge series, they're also at my Patreon, which is like a little bonus for anybody that joins at the $1 level or above. And every Friday afternoon, I am part of a collaboration that looks at a political astrology with another astrologer named Louise Eddington, the Cosmic Owl. So, and we've put out more than 32, probably more than 34, maybe approaching 40 hours worth of videos since the beginning of November.
That's right.
It's what it's like our mission. So
that's every Friday. All right.
Yeah, every
Cosmic
Friday.
Owl, right? Cosmic Owl.
Yeah, it's also on my channel.
Oh, okay.
Professional
Cool.
Aquarian. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Excellent. And before we go, psychicannetdion.com is where you book a reading. There's a special rate for brand new clients. I'm offering $100 off spiritual life coaching sessions for a package. And tonight we have guided meditation for Healed America. So please tune in. There's so much that I'm doing. I can't get into all of it, but it's 7 to 7:30 Eastern time every single Thursday. Meditate with us. It makes a difference. We've been sending light to the Capitol building for a couple years now, and Cory Booker anchored it for us. I'm extremely clear about that. I've mentioned it several times. I really do feel like we needed someone to anchor all the light we were sending there. So expect gangbusters and miracles. And so it is. All right. Well, thank you. I'm glad we squeezed this short video in. There's always so much to talk about.
I thought it would be 10 minutes. Silly me.
Yeah. Oh,
Everyone,
no.
be safe. Be safe. Oh, no.
We had fun. Thank you so much. All right. We'll see you soon. Namaste. Bye.